Welcome back. Let's look at stories from home now. Residents of the Western Cape are bracing themselves for more bad weather while many continue to seek shelter at community halls across the province. Heavy rains and strong winds have already caused major damage across the province, with thousands affected by the adverse weather. The Weather Service has issued a level 4 warning for disruptive rainfall in parts of the province until today that could lead to further localized flooding. Now let's get an update on the floods. We are joined via Zoom by the City of Cape Town's Disaster Risk Management Officer, Sonica Lategan. Sonica, thank you so much for joining us. Look, the South African Weather Service has issued warnings of more inclement weather in the Western Cape over the long weekend. Talk to us about some of the plans that are currently in place or that the city has activated in order to deal with the disaster.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the listeners as well. Yes, the South African Weather Services has given a level 4 warning for inclement weather for today as well. The city has put all its services on standby to respond to a disaster or to the emergency. Our disaster risk management officials, they do go out into the areas to make an assessment so that we can ascertain the damages that has been caused by the flooding and also the residents that has been affected. And according to those data that they give, we then activate our services accordingly. Our NGO partners and SASA are providing humanitarian relief in terms of hot meals and blankets, and our roads and infrastructure services are providing milling and sand, which is also provided to the affected communities. And all our other services are on standby currently and helping out in the areas that has been affected. There have been trees that has been uprooted, roadways that has been flooded. So they are out there and they are assisting the communities. It is difficult at the moment because the ground is saturated with the rains that we have received during this week. So in some instances, they do have to wait for the water to subside before they can go into to clear the roadways and the stormwater systems.
All right, and Sonica, I know you just mentioned that some areas are heavily affected. Can you name just a few areas that are most affected?
So many of our informal settlements are being affected, like the Philippi areas, Khayelitsha, Dunoon. I know that in Hamburg in Hout Bay, we had mudslides. I think 2 days ago, and then there's also other areas in Guguletu and in Delft, and like I said, in Khayelitsha and Klipjewel and Philadelphia areas as well. So mainly our informal settlements, which are located in the floodplains and in wetlands, has been heavily affected.
All right, and what are some of the most urgent needs of the people on the ground, Sonica?
It is mainly humanitarian relief in terms of food and blankets and hot meals as well. So we are appealing to the communities if they want to assist with humanitarian aid donations, to do so directly to the NGOs and churches and faith-based organizations within their communities. So they can donate directly to those organizations in their communities.
All right, and then what?
And then our
yes, go ahead, Sonica, because I wanted to understand what specific assistance is the city actually offering.
Yeah, that is what I wanted to say. Our services are assisting with milling and sand for the affected communities.
All right. And then just to wrap up, Sonica, how far now is the city with its plans, of course, to transport relief aid? As you mentioned, some roads are still inaccessible to Citrusdal and other areas. And of course, some of the roads that were washed away following the days of heavy rain.
Yes, like I said also, in some instances, our heavy equipment is out there to assist, but with the water table that is so high at the moment, they have to wait for the water to subside. but they are out there to assist, especially also with electricity, to restore the electricity to areas that has been affected with weather-related power outages, and where it is needed for communities to be evacuated. Our services are also on standby, like our fire services and also other NGOs who is on standby to assist.
Thank you so much for your input. Sonica Lategan, Cape Town Disaster Risk Management Officer, on Zoom to us about the disaster. All right, now let us get the latest. Let's cross to our reporter Atule Joka and Lukanyo Mazanzana, who are currently in Citrusdal. Atule, what is the latest where you are currently now?
Well, we've managed to finally arrive at Citrusdal. What started out as an easy day, we thought that we were going to just catch a chopper, come to this community, see the humanitarian aid delivering those essential supplies. But because of an adverse weather, that had to be cancelled. There was another option for a boat to carry those essentials as well, but that option as well fell through. So the other option that was left was for us to cross over that low-lying bridge, which also still had water, which was also submerged in water. So the engineer that was there had to make a call, had to make assessments. So after 2 or 3 hours, finally the call was made that we can pass. We were in a buggy. It was quite scary, but it was quite an adventure as well. So we managed to cross, and we took a drove through Gift of the Givers trucks as we come to this community. When we arrived here, we spoke to some of the members, and they told us that it feels like a reenactment of the lockdown. It feels like they're having a deja vu because prices are starting to go up and they cannot buy food, they cannot go out, they feel like they are locked in. And in this hall, which I am in right now, as Mr. Gerib Matthys explained earlier on, that over 200 people had to be evacuated, and that number was also and not stable, as other people keep going to their relatives, are housed in this particular hall over the few days since Wednesday. So they've been staying here, they've been getting some warm meals as well, but they did not have adequate clothing, adequate blankets, everything, but they've been staying in this particular hall to try and find shelter as their houses were demolished, as they were involved in that massive destruction. I will try and move over to some of the familiar members. Bengenda thetha nosisi earlier on, allow ndisondele. Sisom, ndicela usixelele nje uba niqale nangena nini apha kwenzeke ntoni endlini yakho namanzi ngolaa hlobo ubunixele ngalo earlier on. Ndakubambe lo mbono.
Iqale ngolwesibini. Iqale ngolwesithathu. Bekuqale ngonetha nje. Then ngolwesithathu sithe sahleli emini seva kusithiwa kuzovulwa amanzi kumadama ngapha ngaseSeres. Pha ngepast 2 nyani sabona amanzi engena. Into enzekileyo apho amanzi angenile wagcwala umlambo aphumela eza ngapha kuthi ngasezindlini angena ezindlini. And ke into esiphume nazo zinto ezibalekile, into ezinjenge-ID, izompahlana beziguthi. Ezenye izinto zimoshakalele apha, ezinye zemkana amanzi, izinto negrocery nentoni. Then ke sobe sesifumana into bana masizohlala apha eholweni de kufumaneke icebo into bana kokwenza kanjani ngala ndawo ba sihlale njani xa sekuphele amanzi. So asikabi nandawo ke ngoku nangoku sihleli apha kusemanzi ezindlini, ezinye izindlu zimke nomka.
Just narrating how this whole thing started, just saying that at first they were told that the dams were exercising their water level regulation of trying to mitigate the water levels, and the next thing they know that the water came through to their houses, it was gushing in, and they've lost everything there, and they only managed to salvage their identity documents. Mhlambi, over the past few days, benihleli njani apha siswam since Wednesday?
Apha sifike sahlala siyancedwa ekuseni ngebreakfast, isuphu, mhlambe sozo slice 1 of lezi slice 2, emini beyilo papa nalo suphu na late. Sizafihle nje indawo yolala, abanye ke abanazo lezo trasa, sinazo siyancedana. One trasa dibanise nomnye sikwazi ulala sibe baninzi.
Just also explaining the conditions that they are trying to help each other with mattresses. Others do not have mattresses, and they were only managing to eat one sly and whatever that is there, maybe a soup or anything like that. And maybe now they will manage to get that proper food that they need. We understand ngoku kufike izinto, the gift of the givers has brought in some essentials, some clothing. Do you have any kind of hope now?
Andinalo ithemba ngoku ndiyabona noko sihoyekile ngoku sihoyekile sinalo ithemba nathi sitshe sazibona uba noko ikhona into inkxaso yethu esiyifumanayo ngoku.
Thank you so much, Sisom. Just the lady just explaining to us the ordeal that they've been under over the past 3 days, talking to us about how they've been eating maybe only one slice a day with soup, and they also did not have appropriate blankets and other essentials to sleep in. I will try and also to bring in more members of the community. I see others are running away, but I will try and go to this other guy. Mhlekazi wami, just unocacisela nje imeko injani apha?
Imeko esikuyo apha tata inzima kakhulu, imbi kakhulu tata, ngoba nemikuku yethu nantsi ayihambile tata. Nalapha apha sihlala khona kuyabanda tata, le ndawo lesikuyo iyabanda, sikhona sikhuselekile. Umasipala ngoba iindlela zethu zihambile kodwa kuyabanda apha. Nokutya esukutyayo apha esikuphiwayo uyabanda nawo nje. Awona tata kodwa asibuyile ngokuthi umasipala nyana azosipha izipontshi ezinje nani.
The gentleman just explaining that the conditions have not been conducive. It's very cold over here, and the food that they've been eating was not enough, and they're hoping to get more. What else do you need? Mhlawumbe bawela kwenzeke ntoni ngoku?
Besibawela ukuba ingathi urhulumente angasinceda asenzele nje noba zizindlu zethu asiphe imaterial. Siyazi uba napha sisuswe pha siphiwe indlu isite elihle umhlaba omhle apha ukuba nale disaster kuthi ukuthi izaba iminyaka neminyaka uyabona namadala.
Indawo lenokhe kuyo ayo flood plain, ayo ndawo mhlawumbe ingenwa ngamanzi lo.
Ayo ndawo right ngoba isemfuleni ngumfula nangu apho uyayehla namadala wami.
Okay, thank you so much. The gentleman just explaining the condition that they find themselves in, saying, of course, they have built in a floodplain and they are hoping that maybe government will try and move in and help them with adequate housing. I have Ali here. Ali, I see you've brought in your essentials, you've brought in your blankets and everything. Just talk to us about what you have brought in and also what is the condition right now. And also talk to us about the standoff that we had there, the ordeal, the difficulties that we had to get in here. How did you manage to solve that issue?
It was a very tough morning. As we know, the initial plan was coming through helicopters. Then that never worked out. Then there was a talks about bringing boats through. That never worked out. And then finally, we managed to, with the disaster risk management and local farmers, who informed us that one farmer has a low-lying bridge on his farm that connects to Citrusdal. The farmer said, you guys can come through, have a look. An engineer came through, he checked out the bridge, and he said, thumbs up, it's possible, your trucks can move through. And you could see the excitement and joy from not only the recipients here, but of the law enforcement, of the residents, when the trucks crossed the river, to be here today. And because these people has been cut off since last week, Wednesday, and there's excitement and joy as the trucks came through, and we'll be delivering today to each one of them blankets, mattresses, toiletry packs. We bought bulk food to feed them for the next few days, water, baby care packs, and we'll be distributing not only at this hall, but to other areas as well.
You said to us earlier on, when there was that debacle earlier on, that even 5 minutes is a lot of time in your operations. So talk to us about how this affected you and how, if it was prolonged, how would it have affected you?
The end goal was to get to these people. So rain or storm, as we said this morning in the meeting, we want to reach these residents, and that was made possible. And you will experience challenges like these, especially during disasters. But the main thing is to put your heads together, work as a team, and you can see the partnership today, what it has pulled off. All credit due to the South African Police Service, the traffic officials, the farmers, the farm workers, everyone who played a part in making this possible today.
I see there's quite a relief and the people, and also they are singing now. You managed to give them everything that is here now.
Yes, they are excited. Each week they'll be distributing to each of them their personal hygiene item, warm blankets, mattresses. So they are very excited because some of them were complaining how extremely cold they were getting. So we're glad that relief efforts could play through.
Thank you so much, Ali.
Thank you.
Ali Sablay of the Gift of the Givers, just talking to us about how they will run this operation today. They will be handing over toiletries and blankets to the beneficiaries who are very delighted with everything that is happening. As you can see, their excitement, they've been singing, and they're having joy and delight. The municipal manager is addressing them now as they're about to be given their mattresses and the essentials that they've been waiting for. But this community of Citrusdal remains locked down. They remain cut off from the rest of the world because people cannot move over after the road was swept away. So they remain locked in. They cannot buy essentials. They cannot move away. We were speaking to some of the community members saying, of course, even bread is out of stock, and foods and products are starting to get expensive right about now.